You're late for your shift. Oh, hey, Jarek here, and it seems like there's an endless amount of official Half-Life content. Okay, maybe not an endless amount of official Half-Life content, but it seems like every day I'm coming across a new mod I have never heard of that's really good that came out years ago. In fact, Half-Life 1 and 2 are the second and third most modded games of all time, only behind Doom. That could be true, I have no facts to prove it. Today I'm going to be covering a mod called Half-Life Delta Particles. This mod is a total conversion mod for the original Half-Life, and it will last you around 5 hours. So a pretty good length for a mod. Installing it is super easy. You just drag and drop it into your Half-Life folder, launch it with the .bat file, and there you go, you're playing the game. I did have one problem though that drove me insane. There is hard mouse acceleration you're going to need to get used to. I couldn't find any way to get rid of it. All the original fixes to get rid of mouse acceleration in Half-Life 1 just didn't work here, especially because you're launching from a .bat file instead of like a regular mod. I don't know if this has anything to do with the new Half-Life update, but it's pretty annoying. But once I was in, I immediately could tell this mod had a lot of time and attention put into the graphics. It's a total overhaul mod, but it still looks and feels like it's in the Half-Life universe. It somehow managed to make bleak gray worlds look good. There's 2 colors in this game, gray and purple. So where are you? What is going on? Well, you are at Delta Base, a research facility rivaling Black Mesa, also in New Mexico. A little unexpected, probably very unlikely, but technically possible. And when I say rival research facility, I mean that in the most literal sense. You were also working on teleport technology. You play as a guy with a name so boring I don't even remember it and don't care to look. I'm sure it won't catch on like Gordon Freeman did. But hey, that's kind of the point. You're just a researcher, not a hero. You definitely do work in a research facility that's even more depressing than Black Mesa somehow though. As I mentioned, everything is gray. It just has this industrial look to it. That's not a complaint, it's extremely well done, but that would be very depressing working there. While everything is concrete gray, it can also be explained away by the weather. There's always these really good rolling clouds going over, and sometimes you're getting full-on thunderstorms. I love how this looks. It's really simple, it's just looping around you, but for an old game, it looks nice. Can't really say the same about these guys' clothes though. Maybe if they bought from IntoTheAM, their clothes wouldn't be so drab. You guys know who IntoTheAM is by now. They're a clothing company. I wear their stuff all the time when I'm not wearing nothing. Their clothes are incredibly soft, they're durable, they're comfortable, but you've heard all of that. Let's just take a look at what's new on their shop. Alright, you got an astronaut reading in space. You gotta spend the time somehow. You have a more Japanese themed t-shirt. You got this nice cabin and campfire aesthetic going on. I actually like the shirt. I might pick one of these up for myself. Scrolling down, you can see they're constantly adding in new t-shirt designs, and if you go far enough, you start seeing things like coats, pants, hoodies, really anything you want on this site. But out of curiosity, let's see what's sold the best. Alright, you got a custom 6-pack tee, so people just need basic t-shirts, you can wear them to work, and they're comfortable. People also need boxer briefs. So if you need clothes, go to IntoTheAM.com/dragonshirts, and you can get 10% off site-wide. And yes, that does stack on top of bundle deals and sales. So huge thanks to IntoTheAM for sponsoring this video. And now let's go back to Half-Life mods. So what is the story of Half-Life Delta Particles? Well, it's more or less the same story as Half-Life 1, you're just not the one that causes the resonance cascade. And I actually really like the idea of seeing this event happen from multiple different perspectives. You're not at ground zero, but you might as well be, you're still in New Mexico. While you're working, everything starts blowing up and things start teleporting all around you. Admittingly, this one isn't as good as the original Half-Life and Blue Shift, but it's nice to see. I mean, I think Blue Shift raised my expectations on this moment a little too high. Blue Shift's Resonance Cascade scene is just... No matter how you feel about Blue Shift, the opening is pretty dang good. The rest of the game might just be the weakest offering out of any official Half-Life game, but it's still good, I think. Thankfully, Delta Particles does not follow after Blue Shift's gameplay. Quite a lot has been added to this game. For starters, the entirety of the combat has a different feel. Weapons have way less bloom. They're more accurate, they even seem to do more damage. To compensate, the game makes you move a little slower, and spawns more enemies. Oh god. Okay, I can finally reload. Ambush is done. The enemies don't do more damage that I can tell. They're not more deadly, it's still Half-Life. I actually really like this change. As much as I love Half-Life 1, if you're going to change anything, the base gunplay is probably what you should change. I mean, there's a reason why the most popular Half-Life mod is Half-Life M mod. There's also one more thing I noticed right away. Guns sound and feel so much beefier than the base game. The sound is probably what will jump out at you right away. Gunshots sound like someone's punching a plank of wood. Oh, gun. He said to be careful with it. He told me to do something, I couldn't listen. I can't say they really sound like gunshots, but they do sound satisfying. The next thing you'll eventually pick up on is how much screen shake there is every time you shoot. And not in a way that's distracting or annoying. In fact, it almost feels like Modern Warfare 2019. That's really high praise, because Modern Warfare 2019 has fantastic feeling gunplay. Even the pistol has a good amount of screen shake. Speaking of the pistol, this mod redid the entire weapon sandbox. All of these guns are new, or something like that. A few of these are returning ones, but with different skins. The starting pistol is the closest you're getting to a default Half-Life 1 gun. I already said it has a lot of perceived recoil, which is nice, but other than that, it functions just like in the base game. It did have an update to its magazine, which looks nicer now. Okay, no, I actually lied. There's one that's even closer to the base game. The crowbar is literally the same, but now it's different colors, woo! You will get 2 other pistols, yes, 2 of them. You'll get the revolver, which now has a laser. This thing is incredibly accurate and just as useful as it always has been. This is your pocket sniper. And you'll get a Desert Eagle, which, unlike Opposing Force, doesn't just replace the revolver with the same function. This is a little more spammable. It's a lot less accurate than the revolver, but is more usable up close. What's nice is that they don't share ammo. You don't need to pick and choose which one you like best and just use that one. No, you can use both of them. They both have their purpose. Next, you'll get a bullet hose of an SMG with pretty good range and not much bloom. This thing is fairly accurate. Oh my god, I love this gun. Or at least a lot more accurate than your base Half-Life MP5. Next up, your M4. This thing is really good. It does a lot of damage and is very accurate. And it still has the M203 grenade launcher, now with an animation. Wow, there's even an empty reload for the grenade launcher. That's pretty cool. Definitely one of the best guns in the game, and again, none of these share ammo. You can use all of these with their own ammo pools. The pistol doesn't share ammo with the SMG, presumably because the SMG is 45 ACP and the pistol's 9. The M4 doesn't share ammo with either of them, that wouldn't make any sense. And just from a gameplay perspective, it's really nice to have more options. Not only just more options, but more options that serve different purposes. These aren't just repeats of the same gun. You will use all of them. Next up, you'll get a rocket launcher, which really just is a reskin of the Half-Life 1 rocket launcher, so not a whole lot to say here. And the same thing can be said about the grenades and the satchel charges and the snarks. Interestingly enough, by the time you get the snarks, you're mostly just fighting aliens, so there's not much purpose for it in this mod. And I love snarks. That's coming from someone that tries to find every reason to use them. But this last weapon is not just a reskin. It replaces the crossbow, but you get a 50 cal. Yeah, this one-shots almost everything in the game, and listen to this sound. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Oh, it's so beautiful. So those are your weapons, and this mod does a very good job dispersing them so they're not just giving them to you constantly. Across a 5-hour campaign, there's a nice escalation of better weapons and better enemies. Now we can talk about the actual gameplay, and it's following Half-Life 1 so closely that it's sniffing its ass. If you're gonna brown nose anyone, it might as well be Valve. Once the resonance cascade happens, it starts slow. You only have a pistol and eventually a shotgun, mostly fighting zombies and headcrabs this entire time. But what's interesting is that there's 3 different kinds of zombies now. You have the base zombie, which acts just like it does in Half-Life 1. You have security guard zombies, which have more armor, so they take more shots to kill, For example, it takes 4 headshots to kill a regular zombie, whereas it takes 5 to kill the security guard zombie, even though that's not where the armor is. Ignore that part, it's better for gameplay. And you have the marine zombie, which is even more tanky. But eventually, way later in the game, you will come across HEV zombies. These aren't as strong as the security guard or the marines, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. Oh, also HEVs in this game are purple, because everything is either gray or purple, like I mentioned. This mod even does that set piece where you need to get the tentacle out of your way. Okay, we already have tentacles. I'm not even into hentai. You walk into this big open area and there's a hole in the ground. I saw that and figured the tentacle might kill me if I tried to jump down into it. I tried anyway. It might just kill me because it's too close to it and that's like the whole point of what I'm doing? Yeah, I still died. So I immediately understood that's where I need to go and I need to somehow kill this thing. In this case, I sneak around, move a train, move fuel over, and kill it with acid. That's the very too long didn't watch version, but hey, it has the same sort of vibe as Blast Pit, and I like it. Unfortunately, that didn't carry over to the Gargantua. When you fight one of these things, you literally just fight it. You just shoot it until it blows up, and yeah, that was always an option, it just doesn't feel as rewarding. When I think Half-Life 1 bosses, I don't think shoot them until they die, and even if I do, there's more stages to it, like the Gonarch, which eventually you do the same thing in this mod, you just shoot it till it dies. These aren't necessarily bad set pieces, they're just not quite as interesting. Anyway, the progression continues. You'll end up fighting Marines, which now feel quite a bit different. They're literally identical, but your slower speed and more powerful weapons makes this game almost feel pseudo-tactical. It's also just a reminder that AI really hasn't been pushed forward in modern gaming, which is really disappointing. Like, come on, this is some of the most fun I've had in a long time in a game. I just want enemies that almost feel like it's PvP in an arena with plenty of different options. The game continues like this for a while. Set piece after set piece, linear Half-Life goodness. You may be asking what's your motivation here, and there is some. Early on you get knocked out, and wake up to these 3. They apparently save you. 2 of them mean absolutely nothing, just pay attention to this woman. And by pay attention to her, I mean read her subtitles. Yeah, that was something I forgot to mention. This game is only in Russian, but there's such little story that it hardly matters. There are subtitles, so you will still know what's going on. Anyway, she pops up periodically throughout the game. So if anything important is happening, it's when she shows up. Being true to form, this game ends with you being sent off to Xen. Your goal is to save her colleagues. It's not to save the world, it's just to pull her colleagues out and make sure they're okay. By this point in the mod, the game has been chucking tons of enemies at you, but it gives you plenty of ammo and health to deal with it. This continues on in Xen. And Xen, thankfully, doesn't feel like Half-Life 1, it feels more like Blue Shift Xen. You can even find a Chum Toad in Xen! Chum Toad? What are you doing here? Oops. No. Chum Toad. By the way, have you ever gone swimming in Black Mesa? Actually, this probably isn't safe. I'm getting out of here. If Half-Life 1 Xen played like this mod Xen, no one would have complained about it. And some of these battles are just absurd. More and more enemies spawning on top of me, having to take them out. Eventually a Gargantua spawns in and I need to kill him. It feels almost like a boomer shooter. Occasionally this game just turns into like an arena fighter. Uh-oh. You know what? Why? Damn it. This fight even gives you the alternate option of going underneath the fight. The problem there is that if you stay down there, enemies continuously spawn. You're gonna have to kill all of them somehow. The one downside I can say is that this mod has a little bit of an underwhelming ending. This game ends with one of those patented wait for the teleporter to charge up and kill enemies that won't stop spawning. I figured I was getting close to the end of the game, so at least I had a lot of fun spamming the 50 cal. But you never end up actually finding the people you're supposed to be saving. You never actually do anything in Zen. You just go in, kill all the wildlife, and then teleport back home. I was feeling kind of underwhelmed at first, and then I waited till the end of the credits. Here you get a massive hug, you teleport back out, and then the game really ends. So it ends in a to be continued. Okay, that was not the end, they lied. Okay, that was the end. So nothing got done, and we're still in trouble. And that's just the end of the mod. That feels like a bit of a cliffhanger. Now, they are making an updated version and releasing it soon. This updated version will come with English voice acting, and I'm not sure what else. Maybe they'll add more levels and flesh out this ending? Who knows? But for the most part, I have very little complaints. This feels like Half-Life in an alternate universe, and I'll always take more Half-Life. It matches Valve's pacing perfectly, and it's really well polished. I never got stuck not knowing where I needed to go. None of the battles felt too tough. In fact, normal difficulty felt great. It actually gave a little bit of a challenge enough to where I couldn't just autopilot through. I really couldn't recommend this mod enough. It is a lot of fun. So go download Half-Life Delta Squad, and Dragon, we'll see you next video.